Einstein was wrong when asked about distinguishing the microscopic world where the principles of quantum mechanics apply from the macroscopic world where they don't. Niels Bohr said this, "Just shut up and calculate." Bohr's statement suggests that it is impossible to distinguish between the microscopic and macroscopic worlds, and therefore, instead of wasting time on such useless endeavors, one should focus on practical research that applies the principles of quantum mechanics to actual science and technology. However, if one looks deeper into Bohr's statement, one will come across a startling truth. That truth is that there is no distinction between the microscopic and macroscopic worlds. The distinction between the microscopic and macroscopic worlds is nothing more than a fictional concept created by theoretical physicists, not humans. There are no boundaries that separate these two worlds, which have different properties and dimensions from each other. Size is a product of relative perception, therefore, there are no things that are absolutely large or absolutely small. Everything is only perceived and determined relative to one another. The solar system that the Earth belongs to is a tremendous existence compared to humans, but it is only a tiny existence compared to the universe beyond Andromeda. Therefore, the micro-world where quantum mechanics applies and the macro-world beyond it are only relative concepts created by human perception. In the future, as science and technology develop further to delve deeper into the micro-world, it may be possible to discover substances that are billions of times smaller than electrons today, or conversely, perceive that vast universe as part of the genetic material of some organism. However, humanity is currently defining everything based on what we can observe with our current level of scientific technology. Here, the concept of observation is not different from the concept of observation in quantum mechanics. In other words, we are conducting science only with the existences that can be observed and confirmed as real through observation. Things that are not observed may or may not exist. This is what quantum superposition refers to. To define this more realistically, only things that are observed by one being exist. This is analogous to the fact that, in a double-slit experiment, while waves clearly exhibit their wave-like nature, but when observed, particles exhibit their particle-like nature. To put it more clearly, only the existence that is confirmed through observation is meaningful in our lives. However, the truly important realization is this: all things that are observed and therefore have meaning and value in our lives are actually following the principles of quantum mechanics. The deterministic certainty represented by Einstein, which is contrasted with Heisenberg's uncertainty, is simply wrong. Any observed object undergoes disturbance in some way at the moment of observation, and this disturbance affects the object, no matter how small it may be. It is not just in the micro-world that quantum mechanical principles apply, but also in our lives. In the macro-world, for example, our bodies are constantly changing through growth or aging. There is no human body that remains still. Similarly, the flowers and cute pets in that field, and even the tall mountains and deep lakes are all changing. In other words, at the moment we observe them, some mass or energy value is already changing, even if it is at a level that is too small to detect. In other words, it is already in a state of change at the moment of observation. And this observation in the macro world causes interference and affects all elements of the micro world through all biological and physical connections, causing disturbances. These multiple disturbances affect numerous quantum particles, and all the effects that occur between these particles are integrated, leading to simple changes. For example, let's consider the common sense that aging progresses faster during a difficult life experience over a long period of time. Difficult life experiences put more pressure on our body and mind, causing greater levels of disturbance. This disturbance will also increase the quantum disturbances operating within our body, and repeating this process will accelerate the aging or depletion of quantum particles. Our lives are not separated between the microcosmic and macrocosmic worlds, but rather integrated as one world, which expands to include everything beyond this universe. We are all interconnected as one, according to the principles of quantum mechanics. In other words, not only the microcosmic world of quantum mechanics that we encounter, but also our lives, the entire universe, and everything beyond it, all exist and move according to the principles of quantum mechanics. To put it another way, Everything follows the principles of quantum mechanics without distinguishing between the microcosmic and macrocosmic worlds. These two facts we have discussed so far can be easily understood from a Buddhist perspective. Firstly, one of the important agendas in Buddhism is anicca. Anicca means that everything is impermanent and constantly changing. On the other hand, it also means that everything in the world is transient. However, anicca implies that all phenomena, whether material or spiritual, are constantly created and destroyed, always changing, and never remaining in the same form. Therefore, everything that arises is bound to cease. This anicca can be seen from a quantum mechanical perspective as well, where every action in our lives affects the quantum particles that are situated in our bodies, leading to disturbances as properties of observation. This causes constant changes in the quantum particles, which collectively affect our bodies and minds, leading to their changes. Next, the essence and marrow of Buddhism, seen in the concept of Madhyamaka, which is called middle way or centrism in English, is that all phenomena are interconnected without distinction between the microcosmic and macrocosmic worlds, from the world of tiny quantum particles to the vast universe. Furthermore, Madhyamaka asserts that all things exist relatively, and this relativity is represented by the notion dependent arising that every and anything is formed and generated by relation of each other. Thus, the countless dependent arisings represent the whole intertwined as one. Therefore, every quantum particle contains all elements of this universe, and the entire universe possesses all the elements of every quantum particle. If we look at our bodies, all the physical and chemical elements that make up our bodies are contained within each of the particles that make up our bodies. Therefore, it is natural that our bodies contain all the elements that these particles possess. The first case may be difficult to understand, but let's think about it this way. Think about Big Brother, who controls and dominates all information in the world. Inside Big Brother's supercomputer, all the information in the world is integrated, and any event or information related to stored information is automatically executed in response. Each particle contains all the information related to the human body. Each particle functions like a supercomputer, just like Big Brother's. So, when a certain stimulus is applied in life, it is transmitted to the particles, and each particle responds and processes it, causing a certain change and ultimately changing us. This stimulus is the observation mentioned earlier. And the resulting disturbance is the disruption. If there is no stimulation in the external life, there is no observation, and therefore no disruption. Therefore, it is possible to think that if one lives a life away from social life, there will be no disruption to the particles. Of course, if you live a quiet life like this, there will undoubtedly be less disruption to the particles than living a busy life in the city. However, observation does not necessarily occur only from external stimulation, but it also naturally occurs due to the activities of the body in all internal movements, such as the functions of organs and mental activities. Therefore, isolating oneself from society does not mean that there is no disruption to the particles. Meanwhile, when a social subject engages in social life, multiple subjects naturally interact with each other. From the perspective of particles, this means that there is constant observation between particles within a huge network called a community. The results of this observation, or change through disturbance, work like a domino effect, affecting each other and functioning organically like a neural network system that connects countless neurons. This is ultimately the result of the collective movement of particles, which is our life and the result of the entire community. Expanding on this thought, one could consider that the Earth and our lives within it could be a unified entity composed of all these phenomena, such as a single living organism, a single substance, or even subatomic particles that make up matter. Next, based on these ideas, we will discuss the relationship between Buddhism and quantum mechanics. Firstly, the enlightenment of Buddha was a direct experience of the principles of quantum mechanics, as the principles of form is nothing other than emptiness, emptiness is nothing other than form, in the Heart Sutra are actually the principles of quantum mechanics themselves. Finally, based on the preceding discussion, let us consider how knowledge of quantum mechanics can be useful in our lives. Meditation has been popular lately, and its effectiveness can be understood as the control or Minimization of disturbances in quantum particles. If we minimize these disturbances, it may serve as a preventative measure or cure for issues such as physical aging and mental deterioration. Additionally, in ancient Chinese Taoist practice, the goal was to block or minimize disturbances in quantum particles, thereby achieving longevity. This is exemplified by the story of a woodcutter who climbed up to the realm of immortals and watched them play chess. After returning home, he realized several decades had passed, as the realm of the immortals was known for longevity. On the other hand, Buddhist practice accepts disturbances in quantum particles, and seeks to manifest their original wave nature in the macroscopic world. The state of complete enlightenment in Buddhism is equivalent to the superposition and entanglement of quantum particles, where the movements of quantum particles in the microscopic world directly affect the macroscopic world of particles, and thus guide the actions of the Buddha. In the next video, we will discuss how the principles of quantum mechanics align with the enlightenment of Buddha. Thank you for watching.